Clay is going to therapy and holding himself accountable, but that still doesn't justify his actions. AD is actually desperate because she went on a date with Michael Myers, aka Matthew, after he left her for the other Amber. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little hard on these two, but I expected better. So, let's get into it. As you all know, the Love is Blind reunion just dropped and there is so much to talk about. So instead of creating an hour-long video with all my thoughts and opinions, I am going to do a breakdown where in this video I get into Clay and AD only because these two continue to take us through the ringer and I am going to talk about it all. Okay, so if you would like to hear my thoughts on the other couples, check out the links to the other videos popping up on the screen right now and have at it. But before I dive into this review, y'all already know what to do. Like this video, comment your thoughts because I know you already have them. And of course, hit that subscribe button, baby, and join the queendom. Per usual, Clay and AD gave us so much to dissect. For example, why was Clay so twitchy? His eyes kept blinking a million miles a minute and just switching and twitching. And all I could think about was maybe he was nervous or hell, maybe he was thinking of a way to save himself. Like, I just don't know. But getting into the meat of things, it was time for Clay to really explain himself and his decision. And I was so conflicted because I honestly and truly wanted to believe what he was saying as far as, trying to become a better person and working on himself. But something in me just did not believe him. Granted, who am I? Like, I don't have to believe him. I am not the one trying to get with him. But I also felt like everything he was saying was still a bunch of nothing. Like, he just be talking in circles to me. And it don't do it for me. Like, he brought up that he is now going to therapy and everyone was clapping for him and praising him for taking accountability. But the thing is, Clay never strayed away from, taking accountability. That literally was his MO. Like, that is his thing. He is always going to put everything on him, and that's really him saving face. He will always lay out all his problems on the table so he can use it as a save me button or I'm the problem button. So the accountability thing just didn't move me when it comes to him. But when he said he is now going to therapy as if it's some big coming to Jesus moment, that's where it kind of really threw me off with him because for one, the demons that you were battling on the show was clearly demons you were battling way before this experiment. So you been knew you needed therapy and could have been going to sessions before deciding, oh, I think it's time for me to get married. But you didn't do that. I don't believe that you really believe that you had problems. I just think you used that as a defense mechanism and as a way to get out of a marriage that you didn't want. Or you wanted to use your demons as an out in case you are not interested in the person that you are walking down the aisle with or out of the pods with, aka AD. But for the people that will probably cape for Clay and say, oh, well, he probably didn't know about his demons until he was actually going through the experience with AD, I would have to call BS on that too, because even if Clay felt like he was fine going into the experiment and realized, well, damn, I don't want to, end up like my daddy or X, Y, and Z, whatever his excuse could have been, I want to know why didn't he start going to therapy while he actually was going through the experiment? If he honestly and truly wanted to work on himself. For one, they are out of the pods and back into the real world. So it wouldn't have cost him nothing to take out an hour, hell, even 30 minutes of his day to go see a therapist and start the work right then and there if he really truly felt like he had a problem. And granted, he would not have seen change instantly and immediately, but at least he would have been doing the work and it could have, been the light bulb he needed to say, oh, well, maybe I don't need to be perfect for my wife. And the fact that AD was willing to go to war with him and face his demons head on with him would have helped as well because she was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Granted, AD was actually a little desperate, just a tad bit. But beyond that, she was willing to, be his anchor. So him telling her he can't marry her just proved that he was a bullshitter, period. Now, even though I am on Clay's neck, I am happy for him. Don't get me wrong, I am happy for him. But it's just up at the end of the day that he waited until after he embarrassed this girl to put in the work. And what's worse is that he gives AD the credit for helping him on becoming a better man and working on himself. And AD would not be the woman to reap the benefits of the work that she has put in to shape and mold him to be a better man. That just sucked for her, but it happens. And if only AD got out of that honeymoon stage a little earlier and got real with Clay and really dug deep to see where his head and heart was, she would have caught on to him way quicker, I believe. But I'm going to get into AD ass too. But before I do, I cannot leave Clay without talking about him comparing himself to Brett out of all people. Clay felt like Brett represented a good black man and a good husband, always saying the right thing and doing the right thing. But I don't like that Clay felt like he couldn't live up to who Brett was or who Brett showcased on the show, because baby Clay, I am here to tell you that Brett is a anomaly. And no one expects you or anyone else to be the type of man he portrayed. Everyone is different and go through different situations and will have, different outcomes. But what we do expect from you is to do right, treat your partner right, and allow them to love you and give them grace as they, have given you grace. Now, I also want to say I felt like Clay used Brett as an example because he probably assumed because Brett was such a good guy and humble guy and aware and in tune with his emotions, that maybe Brett came from, a fun, loving, and perfect 2-parent household. And Brett straight up told him, not in these words, but Brett basically said, nah, dog, my parents wasn't perfect either. They were rocky and they had their problems similar to yours. And that was the moment I said, gotcha. I got you, Clay. Because here is a man that you were saying that you respected, how he was moving on the show, and you felt like you couldn't imitate that or live up to that because of your father's demons. But whole time, that excuse was bullshit, and Brett said it, which was, my wife or fiance at the time created a space for me to grow and be the person that I knew I could be. And that right there closed the case on me saying Clay didn't want to marry AD because he didn't like her. Point blank, period. Because at the end of the day, AD was everything to Clay that Tiffany was to Brett. And Clay couldn't accept what AD was doing for him because he just did not want her. Point blank, period. Because he could have had that, fairy tale story that, Brett was awarded, but Clay chose to, clutch on to his excuses of eventually cheating on her, which again, I say, bullshit. I call bullshit on, period. I'm not trying to hear that. Oh, and also, it felt like he was fighting his emotions as he was talking about his situation with AD. And it's like, well, did you want to cry or not? Because baby boy was fighting for his life, trying to make sure a tear don't come out. And I don't know if he was genuinely sad and, was just taking that, oh, I'm a black man, y'all won't see me weak type of stance, or he was really faking it. Like, I really can't call it with Clay. And I don't know. I really want to root for him. I really do. But it's hard. And if he just maybe let his guard down, I can, but I don't know. It's just something about him that's just off. And I see it. Like, I'm catching it. I'm reading him. Like, no. But anyways, AD. I am not letting you off the hook with some of the things you said at that reunion. But I will make it quick. So finally, AD pulled up her big girl panties and decided to let Clay have it and flat out told him that respectfully, he played in her face and knew he did not want her or want to marry her. Like, okay, girl, I could never give you your chance because you waited too late, and I feel like you read our comments and our tweets and decided to finally stand on business with him. But you ate that one little thing. I won't give you your chance, but you ate that one little thing, just this bit. So I was happy, she got that off her chest because I truly felt bad for her. But then she lost me when she said, she went on, 1 or 2 dates with Michael Myers, AKA Matthew. Like, girl, what? AD cannot stand for all day. It don't stand for all day. It has to mean actually desperate because that girl had no business being in the same space as Matthew, let alone indulging in 2 dates with him. Like, what was she thinking? And she let him cook. Girl, she could have killed you. What was you thinking? He damn near played in her face way worse than Clay, if you ask me. For one, he was in the pause telling you and another girl the same thing to make y'all feel good. And when the other girl, Amber, left because she wasn't willing to, be played, what did Matthew do? He left the pause, meaning he left you to go and find her. So you wasn't the Amber he wanted. He wanted the other Amber. So clearly you was never a real option for him, Bookie. Like, so I don't know what you was thinking when you did that. Also, side note, they should have had Matthew call into the show, because I didn't care much about him that he needed to actually be at the reunion, but I would have loved for him to answer if he ever found Amber after leaving the show when he did. Or, when she did. But anyways, AD girl, you just out here doing any and everything, and it's giving desperate, and I don't like that for you at all, girly. But I can't lie, I feel like, you know, she is still sleeping around with Clay, because she was so nervous and giggling and talking and hitting him and all that when she was talking about the situation with Matthew, and then she just kept looking at Clay as if, you know, she was looking for some sort of approval, or she was just checking to see, you know, his expressions or his body language, just to see if what she was saying was making him uncomfortable as she was talking. Overall, I think we have to watch out for them two, because they are probably still messing around. And if they are, AD need the most therapy out of everybody and needs to just cut her losses with Clay. But enough of my rambling about these two. It's time for us to get into the real nitty gritty with Laura, Jeremy, Sarah Ann, Chelsea, Jimmy, and the other reunion rejects. So before leaving here and heading over to check out those recaps, like this video and show your girl some love. Drop a comment below and let's discuss your thoughts on this season 6 reunion. And last but certainly not least, subscribe and join the queen, baby. Bye.